Hey everybody, let's take a look at some Citizen ProMaster Toughs. Now, have you ever bought a watch and you liked it so much that you bought it in like other colorways? Now, I've done that before, but typically with like $15 Casios. But this is a little different. Now, my intention originally was to just get the four different colors, see the one that I like the most, and then sell off the others. And I still plan on doing that. But I found myself with four of them, the time only versions, these guys right here. And I said, you know what? If I'm going to make a video, let me pick up the two chronograph versions, make a video, and then we'll decide from there. The MSRP on these watches is $495, at least these are, or maybe that one is. I certainly didn't pay MSRP for these. These watches came out in 2019, and maybe that's what they cost then. But if you hunt, you can find them at a much lower price. I'm pretty sure they've all of these have been discontinued by now. So if you do like these watches, you should pick them up while you still can. These are, to my knowledge, all six of the Citizen ProMaster Tough watches that came out in 2019, with one little exception that I'll get to. These are not all of the Citizen Tough watches that have ever come out. It's a line that's been out for quite some time. Some sources online say 1999, others say 1989, like one of the original ProMasters. They look a little different. Most look like this. So this is another Citizen Tough watch with numerals other than the 12, 3, 6, and 9. And this one's a little smaller. Some of them are radio atomic time. Some of them have all sorts of features. They've been on and off since, I'm pretty sure, 1999. Some people call them the Ray Mears watches. Well, maybe not these, but the Tough line in general, because I wasn't familiar with him, but somewhere he's a British, kind of like a British Survivor Man, television personality. That was wearing one of those original Toughs, and so the watch got nicknamed after him. There's actually a couple of watches that are called the Super Tough that are even well larger, but also they're not beautiful watches. They're designed for a purpose. Let's say that. I don't have a Super Tough, but I do have these. So let's dig into it. As I said, 2019, there are four different time-only models. There's this one on the bracelet with the black dial and the red seconds hand. There's also this black IP case with all white indices. Really cool. There's this like military green, OD green, I think, version, all white hands with this really cool like green strap. I like that one. And there's this guy right here, which I never saw on the Citizen US page, but I know it's in their database. Like if you go to look for extra parts and stuff, but this I'm pretty sure was sold elsewhere, like in the EU, which is strange because it's red, white, and blue. You probably notice on these two guys, they could use a charge, so their second hand does a double jump every 2 seconds. I did just take them out of storage. These guys are the ones that have had available. And a little later, this might have been 2020, but I think later, 2019, they came out with chronograph versions of the same watch or a related watch. This is the black IP on this beige strap, and this is kind of like is that teal? I don't know. I don't know what color teal is, but this lightly blue dial with numerals and chronograph functionality. Chrono. You know what? The battery in this one's a little too low. It's double jumping, so chrono doesn't work. There we go. Your usual start, stop, everything. All right. The one version I don't have is there's a version for this watch that actually has like a camo colored strap. Pretty cool. I thought that's what I was actually buying, but it turns out there's a different version. So this is the CA 072712E. This is the CA 0720-54H. Those are the two chronographs. Most chronographs from Citizen start with CA. And this is the BN 0211-17L. This is the same thing, -09X. This is the BN 021702E. And this is the BN 0211-50E. I'll put those models down below. Now, what makes this Citizen Tough so special? What, I'm 5 minutes in, finally getting to this. Well, unlike most watches, if you look, there's no case back. This is just a flat rear. This is called a monocoque case, because in order to change the batteries or get in here, you have to go in through the crystal. This whole thing gets pulled out with a press, and that's how they replace the solar cell. Before watches were solar, that was a difficult thing to do. You wouldn't want to do that every 2 years. So these watches hinge on the fact that solar is a capability, which I think is pretty cool. Like, solar doesn't just add solar, it changes how you use the watch. And how you use the watch on these is that, okay, since we don't really need a case back, that's just one thing that's eliminated, right? Water's not going to leak through there no matter what. Dust, it's not going to accidentally crack open or anything. The only seal you have to worry about is the seal between the crystal and here, and there's a gasket between the bezel and the watch. So we have a spot here and a spot here. These watches I really like. Obviously, I picked up all four for that. When I saw they came out with the Chrono, at first I was pretty excited, but a couple of things worth pointing out. For whatever reason, they're not a monocoque case, which is very un-Citizen Tough-like. I'm thinking it's because the movement is a little different, it's a little larger, it needs to have contacts for these pushers, so there was just no way to get that in through the front, so it had to be a screw down. And that's a bit of a letdown. The other thing that really surprises me is that this bezel seems to indicate that it's a dive bezel, but it is not. That is a lie, and that to me makes this watch a real letdown. You know, some people that doesn't bother. It doesn't bother me if it was just a coin edge bezel, because there's a lot of fixed bezels that are just coin edge as a result of their manufacturing or part of their history. That's been the case for 100 years. But these markings here are distinctly dive bezel, and it's a little disappointing that they did that. So much so, like a part of me wonders if I could actually find this part, like from Citizen, this bezel, if it's the same size, and have someone like swap that in. I like these watches. I don't like them that much though, enough to like start customizing them that way. So that's a bit of a disappointment. Other things on the Chrono though I really like. I mean, I really like how the crown on this one is knurled. I like the knurling on that pusher. I think that's really nice. And that matches like this grip on this bracelet, which is really, really cool. And overall, I like the color scheme. I just don't know why they did that. You know, it's not really worth my time and energy to try to see if they could sell me an extra one of these bezels and put it on here. So most likely the chronograph models are getting sold. I was interested in them, and I saw in reviews, I knew it was fake, but it hadn't clicked on me that was a screw back. So why don't I start trying them on, and I think that'll be that. Like, what else is there to show? Oh, the size of the watches, yeah. They're kind of a little large, but they're not too bad. Yeah, 42 mil, 10.5 thin, that's actually pretty thin, and 50 mils long. So not so bad, you know, appropriate for what these are. I really like these large bezels here, and that does make these watches appear smaller. I'm not going to go through the hassle of putting that on. It's kind of a pain. This is a 7.5-inch wrist. I think that works very well with me. The watch here that I've worn the most is this one, without question. And I think that looks really nice. I've always liked like steel bezels that are thicker like this. I just think that looks pretty cool. This watch here, I should say, the second hand doesn't hit its marks. And it's like the only Citizen I ever got that was like that. And I wonder if that has something to do with the fact that it's difficult to get to. Like on the assembly line, there's a part where, you know, they catch that and then they go back through, but it's harder for them to do it on this. That's a bit of a disappointment. This steel, these are all steel. None of these are titanium. That one's titanium. It's Duratect coated, so it's hardened. And it's been through a lot, and you really don't see it. I've worn this since 2019 when I got it. The only thing you really see, it took a pretty big bonk. And look, that's all that shows, like around the bezel right there. So it definitely holds up. I mean, look at the side of that case. That looks like, other than the thumbprints, that looks pretty new, and I've worn this so much. That's surprising to me. Yeah, let's get this. The next one that I like is the all black one. I think that looks really, really cool. I should say, I thought that these straps would be uncomfortable, but that's not the case. They're super thick, but that's appropriate for this watch, like this larger watch. And they have like a built-in curve to it. They're actually really, really comfortable. A bit of a pain to put on and off, though. You know, I'll get this one on, and that'll be the end of the video. You know, they have... Oh, this one, you see the keeper here has like this section here that catches it. Yeah, I removed it from there because it's just too tight. But once that's on, that looks really, really nice. You know, I don't have a lot of black watches because when they scratch, they get very noticeable. But I think that's with a black bracelet. I think this, I really like it. I've worn this a bunch, not as much as this guy right here. I think with that said, what else is there to go through? There's a lot of videos online of this watch, but I noticed that there were none that had them all. So I thought I would... well, I'm going to have to figure out a way to hold all of them at the same time to make a caption picture. But I do have a little, turn off this light. I do have, let's go through the lume. I think that's really cool. Look, see, there's a lumed pip. Why would you do that on a bezel that couldn't turn, you know? Maybe they thought it would, and they late in the development realized they couldn't. I don't know. But you see all the numerals light up, really cool. And on these, you have a loomed second hand. That's nice. We'll show this one. Yeah. I really like, man, I like everything about the steel chrono, other than that fake bezel. Anyways, I think that's it. I think that's a nice compare and contrast. Wait, maybe I can do this. Is this pointless? Yeah, that's not going to work out. But something like that, huh? Anyways. Oh yeah, they're all sapphire crystals, I didn't mention. But I'm not a professional watch reviewer, so cut me some slack. Alrighty, hopefully you learned something and you like these watches, and if you do, you got to buy one because you're not going to be able to in the near future. Alrighty, thank you very much.